Hey, this is Steve with RV to Cycle. Today I have a follow-up product review of something I reviewed about 8 months ago. I think it's got some unique features. Let's take a look. So about 8 months ago, I did a product review of the bike alarm that we were using on our bicycles with a new product, the Eesens Guardian Alarm. I'd purchased the alarms that we were using about 1.5 years before Jack Kung, who is the founder of Eesens, reached out to me and asked me if I would be interested in doing a review of their product, the Guardian Bike Alarm, or the Guardian Alarm. I said, yeah, sure, I'd love to do it. I'd compare it, and told him what I was going to do. I'd compare it with the alarms that we were using, and so he sent me a sample to do a review. And if you got interest in that, right over here is that particular product review. And what are the improvements they made? Well, first, they've increased the distance that the remote is supposed to be able to communicate back to the alarm itself. They went from about 800 feet to about 1,600 feet. Another one is that they now have developed what they call Alert Cast, which I think is a great feature. It allows a single alarm to communicate with more than one of the key fobs. So as an example, if Kelly and I are both out on our bicycles and I might not hear my fob go off if somebody's tampering with my bike, her fob will go off simultaneously with mine, and being a bit more aware of her surroundings, she's going to notice it, she's going to tell me, and then we're going to go check on and see what's going on. So I'm really anxious to see how well that works. So this is the Guardian Alarm. So we'll open it up. Now, if you'll scan the QR code, you'll get an electronic, a PDF file, as well as access to video, which is going to be more helpful than this little instruction manual. Now, the instruction manual is okay, but it's not quite as helpful as the PDF file or the video. What's in the box? First, we have this, what I'll call an accessory package. These are all important things you're going to want to have. Shoved in here are a couple of zip ties if you decide that you want to mount the alarm using zip ties. I mount these guys underneath the seat of my bicycle, and Jack Kung, who is the founder of Eesens, sent to me a bracket for mounting it underneath the seat of my bike. And I'm going to open it up real quickly. So it comes with a security wrench. It's actually a Torx wrench, and this tells us, I think it's a T25. And you can hear back in the background maybe Kelly saying, don't tell everybody because they'll know how to steal it. Yeah, it's a T25, I do believe. And then also inside, and if you want to order one of these are available in the accessories portion of the Eesens online store. And so you also have these security bolts and a couple of spacers, and you would mount this somewhat like this. And there are very good instructions on using the saddle mount in the YouTube videos. We also have the key fob, which is ever important. And let me move this, okay. So in our accessories package, which comes with every alarm, there are some more security bolts and spacers if you want to mount the alarm to your bottle cage on your bicycle, and a wrench. Again, it's a torque wrench. Or if you want to maybe put this on your backpack, the alarm on your backpack, you can use this little carabiner. and there's an ever important screwdriver and guitar pick. So the screwdriver is used for removing these screws in the back of the alarm so you can access the batteries, as well as flip the switch on and off. And to get in, once you take the batteries or take the screws out, you put this guy in here, and I'll show you a little demonstration of that. There's two screws that have to come out first, one there and one right here. And I'm just gonna stop recording till I get the screws out, and then I'll start it back because I don't have much battery left. So once those screws are out, if you need to change the battery, or if like last time, this is gonna require that I remove something from the batteries to make them function, but it does not. So you can see there are three 2032 batteries in here. You will need to open this thing up even if the batteries don't have the protective covering on them. You can see right here it says on and off. We got to turn it on. And so I'm going to use the little pick here so you can maybe see things better. You can see that now its sucker is on. It's important when you put this thing back together, this red or orange, whatever it is there, that is to help keep it water resistant. So make sure that you don't foul that thing up. Make sure that it stays in there. And we're going to put it back together now. Align this mounting hole with its mate. Put it together and squeeze. You should hear it snap all the way around. Make sure that it's tight. You're not going to hear it snap all the way around, but you do want to go all the way around. Make sure it has closed all the way. And then we'll drop the little screws back into the holes and we'll screw those back in. And once that's done, I'll get the video started again. Okay, I got the screws reinserted and I've turned them in there, screwed them in there pretty tightly. Now, one of the advantages that's touted by the marketing literature for this alarm is the way this back is designed. You can see it has several channels, and that makes it more challenging to be able to put your hand over it to silence the alarm if you're a thief. Now for the key fob. There is, when you get it out of the box, it's going to have this little tab on it, and you will need to pull that out to be able to engage the battery. You see it's got a little door right here, and if I remember correctly, you can open this door and pull that out, because it's not coming out very easily pulling the tab. And the door is pretty snug. It is flexible, which is good. That means you're not going to break it. There. Okay, I got it out. And you saw it illuminated and beeped, which means we've got battery contact. And the alarm did the same thing. When I flipped the switch to on, it beeped. Once you get that tab out, you want to make sure, just like we did with the alarm itself, making sure that it was tightly closed. You want to make sure that this battery access door is pressed down firmly. Here on the sides of the on-off switch on this side, which you use to turn this guy on and off. If let's say you're throwing it into your backpack or you're carrying it in your pocket, you don't want to accidentally activate it or deactivate it, so you'd want to turn it off. Now we're going to set the sensitivity and alarm sound for this alarm. The first thing we have to do is we have to turn the key fob slider switch to on, and that is pushing it in the upward position, and then we will select the device or the pairing button. We'll push it once just to make sure that we have the green light here, which indicates that we're connected to this particular alarm. So we got the sound we were looking for and the light we're looking for. Next, we're going to do a short press of this gear button or the setting button to select our alarms, and I'm going to cycle through them all. And what you'll hear is an initial tone that will be increasing in its pitch each time I change to a different alarm tone. So let's try pushing it short. Now we're back to 0 again. Okay, so that's how you select the various alarms. The next step would be, once you have chosen the alarm tone you want, will be to set the sensitivity. In other words, how sensitive is this alarm going to be to tampering? And so we do that with the same button, the gear button or the setting button, and it's done with one long press. And you get one beep is the most sensitive, and all the way up to 3 beeps, which is the least sensitive. So 3 is the least sensitive, 2 beeps is more sensitive, 1 beep is the most sensitive. So let's go through that real quickly. Okay, so I have it 1 beep, the most sensitive. You saw I went all the way through that. Okay, now, this is one I've not tried before, and that is how to double check to make sure that the key fob and the alarm itself are still connected. They're still talking to each other, which will be important if you're out wandering around somewhere and you are concerned that maybe you're just too far away. So if you double press this very bottom button, it looks like a horn, you're going to double press it to see if the remote's still connected to the alarm, and a flashing light will confirm that it's connected unless that flashing light is red. So let's see what we get. Double press. Okay, you saw we got a flashing green light. I don't really know how to get it to do let's see if I can outsmart it. I know of course I could have my wife take it down to the grocery store and try that, but that might take a little long. Let's see if I change to a different alarm, and that would be done by pressing the pairing button. There we go. So the yellow means that I would be connected to another alarm. So let's see what happens when we do the double press on the find button to find out if we're still connected between these two. You saw that? We got red. That's what we got. Now we're on the yellow alarm. Let's try it again. Still got red. Now let's go back. There we go. Now we're on the green again. And we got the 2 green flashes. Everything's good. Now, If you are looking for your, let's say you have this on your bike and your bike disappears and you go out, you're looking for it. So what you do is one short press of this, then the alarm will sound for 15 seconds to help you locate it. Now, I'm not going to do it for the full 15 seconds, so I'm going to press another button once it gets started just to shut it down. So, a short press to find your bike. Okay, you saw I pressed a different button. It could be any button. I could have pressed any one of the four and it would have silenced that alarm. Now, if I need to just sound this thing louder for 15 seconds, I push this one time long hold, long press. So let's do that. And then any press, and any button pressed after that will shut it off. Jack asked me, hey, you want to really test this out with 2 key fobs just so you can show folks how it works. So he sent me a second key fob, and it's here. The one on the right is the one I've been using, and so this is the second one. This is the one that Kelly would carry with her. This is the one that Steve would carry with himself. That sounds kind of goofy, doesn't it? Carry with himself. Okay. All right, I just turned it on and you saw the green light flash. That means that this bad boy is connected. So let's see what happens when we move it. I think it's not active alarmed right now. It is not. So I'm going to activate it with a short press. Okay, now we're active. And you can see both of these guys are going off. So if I was somewhere, let's say I had mine on silent. Let's say mine was on silent. So I just turned it to silent and I didn't hear it, but Kelly's was not on silent and she heard hers. Let's see what goes on. I gotta move them to my ears. Okay, so this one is not making any beeping noise. This is the one that's alive, next to the microphone. There you go, that's how those work. Now remember, this slide button is to make this particular key fob silent. So it can still alarm, it just won't make a sound if you put it on silent. Silent, off, and on. Both the key fobs are the same way. We've confirmed that function works. The other thing we want to do is we want to demonstrate how this works between walls. So in other words, if my bike's outside and I'm in the building somewhere, am I still going to be able to pick it up on the key fob? And then again, the distance. How far away from this can I be indoors? How far away can I be outdoors? And right now, it's just too doggone hot to play that game. So, we'll be filming again later. All right, we're going to begin the outdoor testing portion. And rather than mount this guy on my bike because it is so stinking hot out here, I'm going to just put it right back here about where it would normally reside when it's on one of the saddles. And my first test is going to be how well does it work from inside. And to do that, we got to go inside the van. Close the door, and we hope that the alarm didn't fall off, because you got to close the door pretty hard. Now let's get this thing set up and we'll get right back at it. So the normal position for our key fobs, when we've got them on the bikes and we're inside for the night or for the day, is right here. We have this light and we just hang them from the light. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to do the same as I would do, oops, need that one, same as I would do as if we're on the road, and I'm going to arm the alarm. Okay, I just barely heard it. Now I'm going to go out there and I'm going to make the alarm go off, and we'll see how well it does in here. Well, that worked. And the air conditioner comes on. Okay, we're going to push one button to shut it down, and it's off. That I like. That's a score. That's a success. You can hear the air conditioner is on. It came on just as I got back into the RV. I'm in the van, and that's where we use the bikes the most. However, if you watch this channel for a while, you know that we live in an RV resort in a fifth wheel. And we keep our bikes here at the resort unless we're traveling. So I'm going to do some tests of situations that would be practical for our everyday use. So far, the first one is bikes on the back of the van while we're asleep at night, and that is a thumbs up. That's a 2 thumbs up, but I can't do that or I drop the camera. We don't want that to happen. All right, let's go on to the next test. Okay, for the next test, I'm going to have my bike in its normal storage position, which is in our storage shed. And I'm going to then go into the house where I'll set up the key fob. Once I've got the key fob set up and turn the alarm on, I'll come back out to the shed and activate the alarm. Make sure it still works in the house. Okay, now that I've got the remote set up in the house, come out here and we're going to get the alarm positioned. Close the door. I'm in the shed now. And if this were mounted, it would be here, but we're just going to put it right there for now. And make sure that it's on. So I got to run back in the house and turn that on. Okay, I'm in the house, I've got it turned on, and now to set it off, pretty vigorous motions going on here to get it going. And that did it. Go inside, and I'm gonna get in trouble from Kelly because that thing's making so much noise. Why did you do that? Blah, 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 blah. I've heard it all before, and I'm sure I'll hear it again. But that's, you know, that's the way it goes. Did it go off? Okay. Well, it's because I went out there and messed with it. It only goes off for so long, and then it silences. Okay, now I have the alarm over here at a neighbor's house. Now I have to go back over to the shed to start the alarm. And that did it. Okay, there it goes. Okay, now we're going to give it that long distance test. I have to go get my mail, and that's going to take me a bit away from the house. So I've got one remote with me. Kelly has the other one with her. in the RV, and I'm going to drive over here to about where our bathhouse is. That's going to be more than 1/10 of a mile away. Actually, I'm going to go further than that. I'm going to go up here about 2/10 of a mile, which would be close to 1,000 feet, and give it a try. So again, I have the alarm with me. I have one remote with me. Kelly has a remote with her in the RV. I'm going to stop over here at one of my friends' houses, and I'm going to activate this thing, and we'll see. Let's see if she gets it as well. All right, first I got to turn it on. There we go. And then set the alarm off. All right. And I'm going to turn it off. So I've deactivated it. That should have turned it off at the house as well. So that's the best distance I was able to get in my test. I did try some additional further distances from the house, but not successfully. So I'm going to say 715 feet, 4 structures with multiple walls. That's pretty dang good. And in our case, where we use this thing most frequently, or where we use an alarm most frequently, is when we're out in the van. And flawless performance there. Okay, so all that's well and good. So what's the final verdict for me? So I give it a couple of thumbs up. 2 thumbs up. After these latest improvements, this is now the alarm that we will be using on our bicycles. Let me summarize, and I'm going to hit some points that I've already covered and maybe some that I missed. So one of my previous criticisms of the product was the sketchy reliability of the key fob. And that really had to do with operating the key fob in conjunction with the alarm, getting the alarm to do what it was supposed to do by using the key fob. And if that doesn't work, it's kind of like, eh. And the other thing that I criticized was the decibel level, or how loud was the alarm. Now, since the improvements have been made with the key fob, with the remote, decibel level's not as big a concern for me as it was. 100, 110 decibels, 90 decibels, that's pretty dang loud. And it's supposed to be a deterrent, not a preventer, but a deterrent. With the key fob's reliability now, I don't have to be so concerned with hearing the alarm go off when the bikes are hanging on the back of the RV at night, because now we have a fob that has the flashing light and a very, very, very reliable alarm. So that is the big selling point. Another big selling point is the alert cast. Time after time after time when I've tested this thing, it has worked. Alert cast has worked. It hasn't failed. Now, when we talk about the distance, the marketing says 800 to 1,600 feet improvement. The fine print, though it wasn't really fine print, I mean, it's in there, but you got to read all the stuff to find out that that is in an open air simulation. In other words, no walls. Well, how often are you going to need that? Not as often as you are the other side of that. And the marketing folks have said it will penetrate 2 concrete walls up to 70 feet. Well, 715 feet through 4 structures with multiple walls blows that out of the water. So another great selling point as far as I'm concerned. So before I go, I've got to reiterate something I've said in other videos, that bike alarms do not prevent theft. They're only, at best, a deterrent. And the more deterrent devices you can use, the greater the likelihood that you don't have your property stolen. So bike alarm, locks, chains, cables, covers, all of those things, if you're using them all, you're a lot less likely to lose your property than Joe Schmo next door or down the road who just uses a cheap little lock, or maybe just a cover, or maybe just an alarm. The more things you use, the more protection you're going to have. So that's it for now. Thanks for watching. And if you're real observant, you notice my shirt has changed a number of times throughout this video, and that's because it took a while to get this one completed. Between the heat, the wind, and the rain, and all of the testing that I did, it was a number of days. In fact, it has been actually weeks since I first started the filming and testing. Again, thanks for watching. Hope you got something out of this. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below, and I'll do my best to answer them as quickly as I can. And don't forget to check the description area below this video for links to not only the products, but also some of the videos that I've referenced in this section. Section? Kelly doesn't know either. Okay. Think you get the message. Thanks again. Bye-bye.